I think we are live. Fantastic. So, some questions that I've had recently. I kind of, with what I do, I see a lot of the same questions being asked, but one of the newer ones that I'm speaking to a lot of people about, and it's one topic that's obviously relative to what we all need to make sure that we're adapting to ever changing strategies, is the first question you'll see in my list below is how can we be seen for our brand, our website, for SEO, to make sure that when people are searching for us in ChatGPT, Perplexity, Google AI overviews, anywhere where you're adding in a search within one of these platforms, how can we make sure that we're being seen across a number of different platforms? And there's a number of things that we can do. So let's focus on that first of all before I jump into the other questions. So we've got how much should I spend on Google Ads? Again, relatively straightforward. And why are my ads not converting? Probably the two most common questions I get. But let's jump into SEO and the ever changing strategies that we need to be implementing in 2026 to make sure that we're being seen or visible via AI. And guys, it's here to stay. It's very, very relevant, and we need to make sure that we are being seen. So, what we need to do is the content that we're putting out there. When I say content, think about your website. It needs to be up to date with the content that you're adding in there, and not just guessing or adding in content that makes no sense. And when I say makes no sense, it's kind of you thinking you know what content you should be putting out there. Now, the content that we're adding into our websites needs to be relative to what people are actually searching for or what they're querying. And one of the things, one of the updates, if you follow some sort of any kind of AI understanding, is AI, when you put in something like a search into ChatGPT, it will scan the World Wide Web, and it will look for relative um, bits of information. So, what you can do is to make sure that you're adding in the relevant content. You can go to a website, and it's called answerthepublic.com, and put in your website. And then what will happen, it will spend, I don't know, 30 seconds, and it will scan questions that people are asking right now around your product if you're e-commerce, or your service if you're a service-based industry. So let me give you an example. If you were, say, a plumber, then you wanted to think, okay, I need to put content out there on my website based around what Chris is saying, which is to be relevant. How do I know what's relevant? I'm going to put what I think. No, you shouldn't be putting what you think. You should be putting what people are asking right now, questions around plumbers. So potentially, if we put that into the website, it will give you like a pie chart, and it will show you the different questions people are asking. What you can do then is break that down and then add in blogs or content based around what people are asking. And that way, when people are searching, that relatable information is going to be found because you've actually looked at the questions, not what you think people are asking, but actually real content based on data. And I'm very, very strong advocate of data driven information. If you can make sure that the data you're following is correct, then you're going to beat a majority of businesses, because most business owners will just put content out there. It makes no sense. It's something that they think their clients want. But in actual fact, you don't want to be guessing at this game. You want to make sure that you've got some credibility behind that. And the way to do that is to find what people are asking around the world based on your product, if you're e-commerce, or your service. And what will happen then, as you produce more content and you're posting this via your blogs on your website, you're producing more and more content, you'll start to find that you'll be found more often. And again, the next step to this, which again you should be doing, is not only should you be posting blogs around this, post on your socials. Guys, social media, when I say social media, I'm talking about Facebook, I'm talking about TikTok, I'm talking about the other platforms that you use, LinkedIn. They're becoming more like search engines. So if you're putting content on your website and then you're putting it on these search engines, again, you're becoming more relatable, guys. You can be found a lot easier because the questions that are being asked are the questions that you are answering on your website, on your socials. And that's how you can make sure that the circle of people asking questions to finding you and the questions being answered is all tangible via the connections that we're trying to do by creating our posts, or whether that be socially through Meta, through TikTok, or through our websites. And again, it's all about making sure that everything is relative and relevant to the searches that are happening. So again, very easy to do. Askthepublic.com. Go check it out. It's free. They've got some advanced strategies which you could potentially use. But again, it's something that we should be doing. So again, I've gone into a little bit of detail. It's something that I talk about often. It's something that I speak to some quite big agencies about, and these are the strategies you should be keeping up to date with because they're relevant. They're something that you should be doing. And again, it's not so much about common sense, it's about keeping up with the ever-changing strategies that we're seeing. Nobody knows 100% how everything works, but we can pretty much sort of like 95% of the way make things connect and understand that this is what we need to be doing. And again, I would say that that's pretty much what we should be doing as a start to start being ranked or searched through search engine. So again, I hope that makes sense. If you have any questions, as always, get back to me. Now, I've put in a link below some other things. So how much should I spend on Google Ads? Well, this is very simple. If you're coming into Google as a beginner, then what we need to do is you need to make sure that if you work back the maths, if you want 10 clicks a day, you need to look at the keyword planner and then figure out where your average cost per click is going to be. And then from there, if you want 10 clicks a day, then if your average cost per click is $5 or £5, then you want to have a budget of 50 a day. And that's the minimum. Obviously, if you're going to spend 200, 500 a day, that's a completely different kettle of fish. But if you're starting out with Google Ads, and there's a lot of people starting out with Google, and they just don't understand. I see this often, and again, it's one of the services I offer is a free audit. So I get, big companies with big budgets, and I get small brands who are starting out on Google or just running, 10, 15 a day, and 10, 15 pounds a day is just not enough. You just cannot collect enough data. You got to make sure the maths works. This is not a personal opinion. Make sure you're getting a minimum of 10 clicks a day because that's the minimum amount of the information that you will need. Now, obviously, I've worked with brands in Australia, plumbers, electricians, and the cost per click is like 50, 60, 70 a day. So again, you've got to make sure if you're running 30 a day, $30 a day, and your average cost per click is say 50 a day. Well, what does that mean? That means that you got one click and that's your budget gone for the day, a day and a half. And you're like, well, why is my ads not converting? Well, because your average cost per click is way higher for one click than your budget. So how can you generate 10 clicks a day? It's not rocket science. It's very simple, but these are the simple figures that we need to make sure that we're implementing it into our strategies to figure out what the budget should be. And again, it's nothing complicated with Google. We just have to have an understanding of the platform and how to set things out to make sure that we're doing what we need to do. And probably the other question I get is, why is my ads not working? There could be a number of reasons. Again, it's different for different accounts. Probably the most common factors are tracking not working, tracking broken, tracking not set up correctly, whether you do it through Google Tag or Google Tag Manager. One of the things that you can do, which is a real nice freebie, is you can set up a meeting with the Google Tag team, part of the business, and actually they do a good job. I'll say when somebody does a good job, they do a good job. They run through the setup of how to go through the Tag Manager, how to set it up and how to test it. They'll run through that process with you to make sure your tracking is working, which is fantastic. That is a good service. Forget about what anybody else says. That is a part of Google, which is very good. Obviously, the reps is not such a good thing with Google, but that side of the business is very good. So if you can get on board with those guys, get them to help you with your tracking, get that set up. And then remember, you need to keep an eye on your tracking to make sure that it's constantly connected. You want call tracking if you've got calls, and then you also want conversion tracking if it's going to be through CRM or through your website that submit lead forms, that type of thing. So again, make sure the tracking, that's probably the biggest thing that I would say. Other things is maybe not enough budget. I'm just not getting enough conversions, not enough data. 10 clicks a day is the minimum that you will need. If you can get that, then it's a great start. On top of that, then other things potentially, the types of keywords you're targeting, maybe your headlines and descriptions. Don't be, don't just copy what other people are doing. I get, I guess, or I know there's certain headlines and certain descriptions that you need to have in there, but think about the customer journey. When somebody's looking at your headlines and descriptions, they want to see, what makes you unique. Is there some sort of an offer you've got? Is there some sort of discount that you give that nobody else gives? Is there something unique to your business, a unique selling point, a USP that you could potentially add into your headlines and descriptions? Again, so nothing complicated, some simple strategies that work well. But again, with Google, it's all about, you start with, look at the tracking, look at your headlines, descriptions. Are you running enough budget? And if you kind of can answer a number of these questions, then it's going to help you to run a better Google ads. And again, it's nothing too complicated. But again, if you have any questions, you want me to jump in, look at your Google ads, let me know. And I'm always happy to jump in and actually, I offer a 15-minute free audit. Why wouldn't you want to take me up? The chances are I'm going to straight away see ways that I can improve your Google ads and help you to streamline your business and make more money. Why wouldn't you? I don't understand